Good evening, everybody. It's 7:30. Well done. We can legally start proceedings. A very warm welcome. It's not quite the pompous ceremony of the state opening of Parliament, however, just as important nonetheless. Welcome to the Parish Council meeting, Thornton, on Tuesday the 7th of November 2023. If I could just gently remind everybody to switch their mobile telephones to silence, please. And a reminder of the format of the meeting this evening. We are again starting with a public session lasting for 15 minutes. Clark has advised me she's not received any email questions prior to the meeting. However, that doesn't stop me asking if anybody here does have a question. Each individual member of the public gets 3 minutes, and then if we're inundated with questions, we can have up to 5. A reminder that the council this evening can't make a decision on any questions posed. However, as chairman, I can decide how we're going to respond as a council, and that can either be verbally this evening if it's a simple matter, in writing at a later date, or if the issue is worthy of a future agenda item, then that is an option available to me. After the public session, we'll then move into the Parish Council meeting. Quite a varied agenda this evening, but I would just like to point out we've got some exciting opportunities for engagement. So if you want to get involved in Parish Council business, it's a good evening to come. And then after the Parish Council meeting, you'll probably see on the agenda, we've got a closed session where we just have to discuss a couple of points, and the reason why that is in a closed session is because there are some confidentiality issues around those two items. Just a reminder of conduct, again, I just expect everybody here present to act with dignity and respect to one another, and I can see that we're being video recorded. And that's in line with the openness of local government regulations. The rules regarding both conduct and videoing are available. If you wish a copy to be provided to you, I can do that for you. So, without further ado, declare the meeting open, and we'll start with a public session. Now, bearing in mind we haven't received any questions, does anybody here this evening have a burning question that they would like to ask? Yeah, we did that last meeting with changes in rules. Ideally, they need to be emailed in 24 hours prior to the meeting. Or afterwards to be noted. So, are there any questions from audience this evening? No? Fabulous. Well, we'll move on then to the agenda. So, the first item on this evening's agenda is to receive any apologies for absence, but I can see we're all here, so we'll move swiftly on. To receive declarations of interest in items on the agenda. Are there any such declarations from council this evening? No, there are not, thank you. And to confirm and sign the minutes of our last meeting of the 24th of October. Initial each page. Excuse me a moment whilst I just initial these minutes, and it has to be seconded as well, doesn't it? No, just me. There you go. Thank you. Okay, right. So the next two items are to consider adopting or re-adopting two council policies. The first is a tree policy and the second is a bench policy. Now, both of these issues have been carried forward from the previous meeting, and we'll start with the tree policy. It was proposed at the last meeting that we adopted a tree policy following concerns around trees that the Parish Council were responsible for, and those are trees that are located on land that the Parish Council are responsible for, and it was initiated by correspondence relating to trees up at the cemetery. So we discussed the implications of a risk assessment, we discussed the risk to the public, and we discussed the way forward. The clerk has produced a guide framework policy for trees, and that's what I'm going to ask council to consider now. So I presume we've all had opportunity to have a flip through. Are there any comments, please?
I think it's a 10-page document. It's very long-winded, and a lot of things that are in the document don't particularly apply to us here in Thornton. I don't. Clark, where did you get the document from?
Pulled it together from the
Right.
policy.
Right. Because I see there's a Kirklees District Council mentioned on page 8.
Yeah, it's one that's
Right.
the one that's recommended is their policy.
Okay.
Can we not do our own policy?
What would you miss?
Pardon?
You need to give us suggestions of what to miss out.
Well, I would just say that David has a lot of experience over trees, don't you? And management of them, so I think you'd be quite good at that.
I'm just thinking it doesn't have to be done by an absolute expert. It has to be done someone with knowledge of trees. And
So, yeah.
My background is managing a 2,000 acre estate in Norfolk. There are 250 acres of woodland, 80 acres of which were an SSSI, site of special scientific interest, ancient woodland. I spent 37 years managing trees, so I'm not an expert. I have vast knowledge of it. I'm just thinking in terms of cost, whether we should use the skill sets of people in and around the council in order to save money.
So we're looking at the tree policy. I don't think there's a cost implication on the policy itself. I get your point, David. It is quite generic. For me, it lacks a little bit of detail around the parish of Thornton. I think what's contained in it is relevant. It starts off with the common law rights around private residence. So I think that can all come out, because it's not relevant to parish council. But I would like to see a sort of a definitive map of what land is either owned or responsible to parish council.
That will come in the survey.
That will come in the tree survey.
Which is where the cost comes into
It's having a survey done that would cover you for insurance.
So we can lump the tree, and has made a bit of a joke there, didn't I? We can lump the tree survey into the tree policy, because we're discussing tree surveys later on the agenda, aren't
Survey
we?
will come into your risk assessment.
Yeah.
Risk assessments.
And we can attach that to the tree policy as an appendix, maybe? Or is this just
Your
a...
ongoing risk assessment is your risk assessment, so the policy just covers what you are going to do as a procedure.
Okay. Right, gotcha.
Did we have a tree policy before? No.
So the tree policy is an introduction really as to why we've got a tree policy. It does go on to the common law rights, which I think are relevant to private residents, section 1. I think that
I think the council is liable for highways, for risk, that's why you've got your common law rights in there.
Okay. Does that not come under street trees, parks and open spaces, or...?
Common law things in there,
Okay.
it's partly underpinned.
Okay. Then it goes on to maintenance, which is relevant. It goes on to parks and open spaces. It goes on to tree felling. Talks about unsafe trees and what parish council can do. And then it talks about unsafe trees on private ownership, and it talks about what parish council can do, which I think is all relevant as a sort of a framework. Overhanging property trees, roots and drains, blocking views, leaf, sap, and all the sorts of things that the parish council won't get involved in, which I think again is quite relevant. And it just goes on really and covers all a multitude of situations which could impact with trees that parish council are responsible for.
How many trees do we actually have?
And we don't
That's what we
know.
don't know, that's what we need a professional survey for.
So you can only get professional survey if they know what they're going to survey. If they don't know what they've got, how are they going to survey?
Well, we know the areas of land that we own.
So we should know how many trees are in there. Yeah.
I'm
We've got
not
the
certain.
allotments, the cemetery, the churchyard, the village green.
Bullfield,
I think we already agreed there was nothing on the Bullfield.
there's trees around the Bullfield.
Yes, trees, if the hedge is not maintained, then
So is it worth
they can
the
be.
councils going and assessing what trees we do have? It seems silly spending a fortune on what
Yeah,
we've
well,
got.
we need to know what we've got first before we can.
So are you talking about the tree policy or are you talking about a tree survey? Because tree survey comes later on the agenda. I think when you're identifying trees that parish council are responsible for,
Can we not combine the two?
would that not come under the survey?
Can we not combine the two? The
Well-
tree policy is a survey.
Can we combine the two?
The policies and procedures set in place, then you decide what you do once your policy is in place.
Okay. Does the policy talk about surveying? Because
Yes,
it does, doesn't it?
yeah. That's the one thing I did was not make it side scale.
Yeah. Okay, well, I think the devil's in the detail, really, and in terms of having a policy, I personally think that we need a tree policy for us to sort of move forward, really. I think there'll be more conversation later on the agenda when we talk about the tree survey. So the agenda item is to consider adopting a tree policy, and it would be this policy here. Now, the amendments, as such, I think we don't really need to agree this evening, do we? We just need to agree whether we have a tree policy. Is
So
that
it's just the amendments of a typo there.
a typo?
Yeah.
Yeah. Any other comments about the policy that has been drafted?
I agree with David in that it's very long-winded and probably is a sledgehammer to crack a nut. But on the other hand, what is a huge policy and a lot of it not relevant to parts of Thornton, at least it's there.
Mm.
And if an occasion should arise where something which we aren't aware of at the moment crops up, I think the policy covers almost everything. And on that basis,
Mm.
I think it's there for reference should we need it in future.
And it's a document that we can amend at any such time in the future anyway, isn't it? So if we felt that that was necessary to amend, we could do so. Okay. All right, well, just to move it on then, the agenda item is to consider the adoption of a tree policy. I propose that we do adopt a tree policy. Do we need that seconded? Can we
You
just
don't-
vote?
you don't
So
need
all
to
in
vote.
favour of adopting a tree policy for the parish council? Show of hands. That's everybody. Thank you. Okay. Similar circumstances, this time in respect of adopting a bench policy. Again, an agenda item that's been brought forward. It was established that parish council didn't have a bench policy, and of course we are responsible for management of quite a number of benches in the parish. Sadly, with the inclement weather, 4 have been damaged and removed, being deemed to be beyond economical repair. We wanted to refer to a policy which wasn't in existence, so Clark has very kindly drafted one. My comments on this are that it really does meet our needs in its entirety. There's the introduction of a new application process whereby owners of benches fill out a request form. That enables parish council to maintain a register, I presume on Scribe, and enables us to contact owners of benches in the future if we need to. Any other comments at all from council with regards to bench policy?
Yeah,
No? Yeah, Henry?
it's all right, put a bench there. It stays there for 30 years. What's it costing the council?
Hmm.
When I was on holiday, we took all the benches out of this, off this promenade, took them all in, maintained them all, put them all back out again. I said, what the heck is this bill? Well, should they pay for it?
Oh, right.
Each, they've got to pay for their bench maintained,
Yep.
so it doesn't go back out.
Yeah. Well, no, you raise a good point. That is covered in the new policy document in that there is a one-off routine maintenance and regular inspection fee for any new installations of £150 per 10-year period. So that would generate an income into Parish Council. It would be responsibility of Parish Council to maintain that bench. And I think that used to happen with the old caretaker, did it not?
Yes, probably
Yeah.
we still haven't paid for
Sorry again?
it. We still pay for it.
Yeah, well I think,
If the caretaker's doing it, or it's got any clear start or any, it's to be paid for.
right,
I think £15 a year is a bit light.
right, okay. Well, again, we can revisit this policy document if need arises. Just out of interest, where does the figure come from? Is that just a
I
standard?
looked about 6 or 8 policies on benches, very different.
Yeah,
They all seem to sit about 10-year life
Yeah.
benches,
yeah,
and that was £150, £200 was a regular figure.
for the 10-year
Yeah.
period, yeah.
It covers the cost of it, grass cutting, swimming grounds, taking extra time, bit like that.
Well, when the maintenance programme is brought in, it would be the caretaker that undertakes that maintenance, and we'd be paying the caretaker anyway, wouldn't we? So Parish Council would be paying for the maintenance.
Yeah.
It's just that that's a contribution from the owner. It's a sort of set-up fee. Any other questions regarding the policy at all? No? Yeah, okay, so the agenda item is to consider the adoption. The proposal is that we do. We can do that by a vote again, so all those in favour, show of hands. Yeah, perfect, thank you. Okay. Moving on from benches, we're now going to discuss salt bins, salt and grit bins, which is an agenda item carried forward just so that we could undertake some further discussion and some further consideration. There's clearly a process involved whereby North Yorkshire Council are proposing that Parish Council adopt 5 extra grit bins. Parish Council currently own 4. The cost of those is £360 per year. If we adopted the extra 5, it would be an additional £450 Parish Council would have to find.
Is that per salt bin?
No, that's for the...
£75 a salt bin per year.
That's that.
That's assuming we don't have a bad winter as well. If
What-
we have a bad winter, that's going to be double if not triple.
They stand and fill it twice. £75.
They fill it twice. So, to better understand the position that Parish Council is in, I wanted really to just conduct my own little survey and see what current provision is available. Because, have you drawn a map?
And Henry's done the same as what
There
we've
is
done.
32 salt bins in the village, 2 private ones. There's 3 housing estates has gone up in the last few years, have no salt bins on at all.
Mm-hmm.
And I think Thornton Heights is a very dangerous one if it doesn't get one. Because of the way it comes up onto the road, is that right, John? Hastings.
Yeah.
When it goes up onto the road, it's going to be deadly if there's no salt there. The nearest salt bin to there is the Tip Road end.
Well, look, the proposal that we have to consider is whether or not we adopt more salt bins at different locations. Now, the different locations, to begin with, there's one on Westgate that North Yorkshire are considering removing. However, the one that they're considering removing is a very short distance away from two others.
There's 3 down Westgate.
There's 3 down Westgate, so if we remove one, I can't see there being any impact.
No.
So, to my mind, there's no need to start paying for it.
Yeah.
Moulton Gate is a little different, and I'll come back to that. Roxbury Terrace, the junction of Roxbury Road, the current provision, there are 4 grit bins in close proximity along Roxbury Road. The one at the junction with Castle Garth is an extra size double. So to my mind, and I would invite comment, but to my mind there wouldn't be a problem removing the salt bin at Roxbury Road, Roxbury Terrace.
Agreed.
South Lane,
2 of them.
there are 2. However, the 2 that are being proposed to remove, 4, no, council want us to adopt 2.
Sorry, there's 5.
They want to remove 2.
There's 5 myself.
Having had a look, the current provision, I think the 2 that are being proposed to remove wouldn't cause a problem because they're not on the steep part of South Lane. They're in close proximity of a number of other bins, and rather than pay for them, I think to get those 2 removed wouldn't cause parishioners a problem.
Well, I think they want to move one onto that area what I've said. Because I tell you what, if it gets hassle and there's a bit of trouble, it will be just,
Are you talking about Thornton Heights?
yes.
Okay.
But deal with that as a separate application.
We'll do that as a separate.
A separate application.
The last one that does cause me concern is the one on Moulton Gate, which is on the village green, because that one is regularly used by local businesses to salt not only the road but the paths, the Yorkshire Stone footpath up and over the footbridge. Yeah, sure.
I think I'm not from something that what business.
No. The question is whether we adopt it at Parish Council expense or whether we let North Yorkshire Council remove it. Now my suggestion is we let North Yorkshire Council remove it because one of the bins that we currently own and pay for is down at Heron Close. And the bin at Heron Close is not being used.
On Moulton Junction, Moulton Gate Junction.
Yeah, that's the one. It's
Slow down, Nick. So you say, can we just vote before you say that one?
right.
Are you all happy for those not to be adopted? Just
Yes.
slow down.
Yes.
All except for the one on I think that is a vital sort of bin.
Well, I suggest
The
that
one by the
you,
telephone box.
you shop owners pay for it.
Right. The main use I use it for, as I explained at the previous meeting, is to grit the road. It's one area of the village where that has a proven accident record. And the salt wagon that NYCC provide doesn't do that until very late in the day. So the corner of around the back of the green and the corner turning in front of the new inn have both been scenes of accidents, and plus the fact that it's used for salting the footpath that comes down from the car park in front of the forge. I think it's probably the most used salt bin in the village
Well, why are they trying to remove it?
Right, so.
because it doesn't match the gradient criteria.
Ask them about
So-
each one individually. Get me
Sorry, say again?
Get me vote on each one individually.
Okay, so a vote then to remove the 2 salt bins on South Lane.
Yes.
All in favour?
Yes.
Yes.
Any objections? Any abstaining? No. To remove the salt bin at Roxbury Terrace. All in favour? Yeah.
Yeah.
To remove the salt bin on Westgate. All in favour? The one on Moulton Gate, I'm going to propose that we have removed, but we replace it with the one that we already own from Heron Close. Now, the one on Heron Close is bigger than the current one on the village green, It's full of grit and it's not being used. So Parish Council currently pay for that salt bin to be filled twice a year and it's not being used. If we relocate it to the green, we are not spending any additional money. In fact, we're getting better value for money because we'll be using the grit bin not previously owned. So,
Split that.
can we agree or to remove the bin on Moulton Gate? All those in favour? And we will replace it with herring clothes.
We need to go on that again.
Yeah, so we don't.
Right, so another proposal then
So
to,
basically, we've
yeah.
said to North Yorkshire, we don't want any of those bins.
yeah,
Yeah,
Then you're making a choice now
yeah,
to move grit bin 2,
is that its number?
yeah, to Molten Gate.
Yeah.
One younger than that.
So all those in favour to move that grit bin? Thank you.
got some strong men to do it.
We can find people to do it.
Right, sorry, but I just have to get that now.
Is it right? Are you happy? Okay.
I know.
Are the group bins on the asset register?
Yeah.
Oh, right. Okay. And just a point of interest, we're going to try and locate the handheld push grit
In the
spreader.
shed.
It's in the shed, is it?
In the old
Yeah.
cemetery.
We need to get prepared, don't
Can
we?
we have the number so we can get it out? The padlock?
I can tell you, I can.
Right.
Thank you. Okay, moving on. The next agenda item is to consider holding an ICCM Memorials Workshop. Carrie, this one's for you, isn't it?
Basically, the Institute of Sanitaries, Cremations and Management run a workshop course. They're all over the country, but we could host one here. They have about 10-15 members on it. We get 2 free places. It's basically, they would come and help, during that day, they would teach us about checking memorials. It would only cost the hire of the hall to do theory, and hopefully just providing lunch for the instructor, which I'm sure our councillors could help me do. So we get the benefit of someone helping us professionally check our memorials plus 2 training.
And the cost, sorry?
Just the hire of the hall and the lunch for the instructor.
But there is a normal cost associated
The
with the
normal
course.
cost for doing it is £150 per person.
So essentially we're saving £150 per person
Yeah.
just by holding the course here in Thornton.
Yeah.
Any comments or thoughts from council?
So basically there'll be other people.
Yeah, they're gonna cost here.
Right.
Yeah, but you're about, is it about 15 or 20 places? That's the sort of line I get it.
They said it was a fair one, we picked it up.
Did they? Right. Yeah. So the incentive for holding the course here at the parish is that you don't have to pay their normal fees, and we will get a cemetery survey completed.
Maybe not get it all done, but
Yeah,
we'll
but-
get some more professional advice on
Yeah.
site.
And what happens if not enough people come forward?
If the cost just wouldn't run,
Right.
Yeah.
So it's not going to cost us?
no.
And do you come to that as well, Gary?
The clerk that's in position would.
Okay, so I don't know that there's anything more to say about that.
Because is that done for April, did I read?
Oh, I've not done any data or anything.
Right.
I have to get your approval to be able to do it.
Okay. So with that in mind then, we'll just go straight to vote, presumably, on considering holding it. All those in favour of holding the ICCM Memorials Workshop?
Yep.
Yeah, lovely. Okay. Next agenda item is to consider the task and finish group for local parish plan. So, the local parish plan. An important document really because it sets out vision and priorities for the parish. I certainly love living in Thornton, as I'm sure everybody here does. And it's important that we actively make sure that the parish heads in the right direction and is preserved in the way that it should be for maybe generations to come, or certainly in the next 5 to 10 years. So the proposal from the parish council is to set up a task and finish group, a group of people that would look at renewing the local parish plan and setting about looking at a number of questions under some terms of reference and reporting back to parish council as to what the best direction is. It is an important document.
Can I just say something?
Yeah, of course you can.
It is a waste of time. Go
Okay.
on to North Yorkshire County website, they are doing one for the whole of the county, and anybody that's got one or doing one, they're going to take no notice of it. Basically.
Right, so the local plan being written by North Yorkshire Council doesn't include conservation areas of which we are in. So it wouldn't,
all of it.
it wouldn't automatically include Thornton.
It doesn't cover national parks, and that is one of the questions of the task and finish group to ask why. Is it because they believe the North Yorkshire National Parks planning framework already does it? So that is why we need a task and finish group to investigate why.
Yeah. The idea being that we would have councillors and representatives from the public who would express a wish to get involved, maybe, and kind of move it forwards together. National parks and I guess interested bodies, yeah? So, any comments other than Marguerite's from the rest of council at all?
So this is
Good luck with working with national parks is all I
So
say.
this is a group to investigate how to do it, why to do it,
Yeah.
not the actual plan yet. It's to set the scene for a plan.
I'd like to just take it in two bits really, to consider the need to have one and then to consider the terms of reference, because I think terms of reference we could work a little bit on. She's produced a good framework. There's probably lots of questions that we can add to that. I personally think it's an important step forward, and we mentioned it during our manifesto. I think it's needed. We've had one previously. That expired in 2013, it's now 2023. So I'm just going to go straight to vote really to consider a task and finish group for local parish plan. So a show of hands.
What's it going to cost us?
Well, again, that would be one of the questions for the working group to
That's
answer.
what it cost £15,000.
Well,
They
again,
raised
it
it
would just be
themselves,
one of the
not
questions for
council.
the working group. And if it's going to cost money we can't afford, then we're going to have to make those decisions, aren't we? So this is just purely to set up a working group. Yeah? So,
A parish plan costing £15,000, is that correct?
Yes,
Yes.
yes. The gentleman that did it is sat there.
For a parish plan?
Yes,
Not
the
a
parish
neighbourhood plan?
Parish plan.
plan, a parish plan.
well, let's have the working group look at it, and they'll cost it, and they'll report back to council, and we can make decisions then. The only decision we need to make now is to consider whether we have this working group. So, we'll stick it to the vote.
When you start the work,
Yeah.
you find that framework isn't big enough.
Yeah.
You then come back to council and say, look, you need to investigate this and this, so we expand the
Yeah.
framework.
Yeah, yeah, that makes perfect sense. So, all in favour, please, show of hands for a working group for a task and finish for local parish plan. Yeah. Undecided?
Where's it?
I guess that's a no. Terms of reference we can revisit, can we?
Well,
Or
they're
do-
there,
I mean-
you can update them, they're there to start with. There's nothing saying you can't update them as you go along and find that you
Okay.
need more to go on them as you start working.
So we don't need as much on as what's on here.
Yeah, possibly. I mean, do we need to, I mean, it says to consider terms of reference. Do we need to consider that now, or is it just go hand in hand with the working group and we can work through it as we progress?
What would you not have?
To investigate that the Old Yorkshire local plan will cover,
Will not cover.
will not cover. This is Thornton Dale.
Yes, but you want to know why, because if they're saying it's already there, why would you want, it's due diligence, it's governance. You're then looking at why the district council are not doing it. Are they saying it doesn't need doing because the framework's already there and you're already protected? Then why would you spend public money on it?
Well, I certainly would wish to add a few things to it. So, I mean, if we can agree that it's a document that can be amended
Yeah.
to suit the terms of reference we feel that the working group is heading in, if they decided
Get
it,
it off the internet and then read it.
get what off the
Get the
internet.
plan, get the plan off the internet and read it.
Which plan?
Plan of village, yeah.
That expired in 2013, 10 years ago. So it's not relevant anymore, is it? Okay, well, we'll just move on then, and we can come back to terms of reference, can't we? The next agenda item is to consider Finance Committee, and again, the remit for terms of reference. Finance Committee, before I do move on, can I just say that if there are any people here present that are interested in getting involved in the parish plan, you could just email me if you like. All right, we'll get that agreed then. Yeah. Just make contact, expressions of interests, please. Okay, thank you. Finance Committee really is just something Parish Council, presumably a lot of Parish Councils have. It enables decisions to be taken and finances to be looked at, and I think terms of reference for a financial committee are fairly standard, are they?
I would ask that these are sent to the YLCA first,
Mm-hmm.
before you adopt them. They are non-decision making, because you are a smaller council, you usually only have finance committee when you have councillors above 10 or 11. It's to reduce workload, not reduce the democracy of the council. So you could agree in principle you can have a finance committee, but I want the YLCA to overlook these.
Mm-hmm. Okay, any other comments at all?
Why would the rights look at?
Because that is good governance. They will give you guidance on when these fit the purpose.
The governance of the terms of reference.
You pay to the YLCA for advice, and this is what their job is.
I think there are members of this parish council that have got far greater financial experience and knowledge than me, for a start, and I'm quite happy to say. And I think that having a finance committee would be of great benefit to a parish council. I think if we can consider whether we have one or not, and then perhaps have a little think about who would want to be on the finance committee. So shall we start with whether we need a finance committee? And the proposal is that we do, and that we pull together a finance committee. Put it straight to the vote, I guess. Yeah. All those in favour? All those against? I'm in favour. Marguerite's against, and abstaining? Or
I did put down, so.
oh, didn't see it. Thank you, Henry.
Oh.
Just Marguerite who's against. Okay, and then some consideration or volunteers maybe from council, and it can only be parish councillors that are on a finance committee, as to who would like to participate.
I should like to pass.
David, do we have to get that seconded, or? No? Thank you, David.
This is going to be checked with by YLCA first, anyway.
The terms of reference are, yeah. Just looking for volunteers, Marguerite, who might want to sit on a finance committee.
I'd like to see some more.
Sorry, what was that?
Are you offering, Marguerite?
No, I'm not.
No, big fine. Anybody else at all?
There's some people that knows enough about finance.
Yes, indeed.
Yes.
Yeah.
If you need a third, a third.
Well, that's a good question. How many do we need?
Says on here, up to five.
That says up to 5. Limited numbers to 5.
The only problem with only 3 is that if one wasn't there, it wasn't a quorum.
I'll do it.
Claire, thank you. Are you still in, John?
Yeah.
Go for 4.
If you need, for that reason.
Thank you.
Although it's not a decision-making body,
No.
so quorum wouldn't come into it.
You still need a quorum and not do something.
So what would the criteria for a quorum be on that basis?
It's still a formal committee.
So a quorum would be, what would be the percentage?
3.
3.
Minimum of 3.
Right, out of
4.
Okay.
And the terms of reference, we will refer to YLCA for governance approval, I guess. Right, moving on. Next agenda item is to consider the next steps for the church clock repairs. Okay. We thought the church clock had been repaired. You may have noticed that it is starting to fail again. Smiths of Derby came and had a look. They have now produced a full report. They've been very helpful. What has happened is the pendulum arrest regulator system, which is a device that springs into life, that pushes the pendulum of the clock, keeps it working, has failed or is failing. As Parish Council, we really need to discuss the next steps forward. There is a cost implication, and I'll just come on to that in a moment. There are options available to Parish Council, in as much as, do we turn the clock off? Do we consider having it repaired? Are there any other options available to us? Smiths of Derby, well, there are only 1 or 2 companies in the whole country that can repair the church clock. It is a long-standing responsibility of Parish Council to maintain it. And the quotation that has come in, I can announce that, can't I? Including the VAT.
You don't need to worry about that, because that will
We
reclaim.
reclaim the VAT? Okay, so the total cost to repair the church clock in the village is £1,979.
Could we do a bit of fundraising for that?
Claire, what a fantastic idea. Somebody's already mentioned that. And there are possible
Well, funds were raised for
funding.
the clock initially, weren't they?
Sorry, say again.
The clock was bought initially by the village. They raised funds for it.
Right, okay, yeah, brilliant.
So
Yeah.
I think we should, yeah.
So I like the idea of fundraising.
I'm sure we'll get some villagers in on that, won't we?
Yeah, I'm sure we will. Now, we've got experts sat in the room that are good at fundraising. And presumably there are funding avenues to explore as well. What was it, the
North
North?
and North Yorkshire District Council probably might be able to give us some funding towards it.
Okay.
Is there any grants towards it?
I couldn't see it, the difficulty is that it's within the church. So I couldn't see any of the grants that we could apply.
Any other comments with regards to grants, maybe?
I don't understand why, with it being in the church and it goes to the parish, that
Because a lot of grants won't pay for religious venues.
Okay. Oh, I've got a hand in the air. Now, we should go to a question. Is it relevant to the item? And we will, if I can assure me it's relevant, I'm sure it is, Denise. So we'll just have a quick resolution. Denise has got a question. All those in favour allowing Denise to have speak? Please, ask away.
I'm happy to do some fundraising.
You are? Thank you.
I've just spoke to Donna here, the brownies will do a bit as well.
Brownies as well?
Yeah, so
Fantastic.
we can do
Yeah.
whatever.
Thank you very much. We'll make note
But
of it.
we can have a chat, or I can have a chat with Rebecca
Yeah.
or Claire, when we do.
both of us.
I think it would be a wonderful idea if we could get
I
community
think it's better
fundraising
if it's the
involved.
village, if it belongs to the village, then it's nice if the village do something.
It is an important asset, as you quite rightly highlight. It's loved by all, really, isn't it? And it's sad to see it not working properly. So thank you, and yes, we'll take you up on that. And if anybody else is interested, just please get in contact. We will, as a council, explore granting other funding opportunities. But if we can raise £1,979, that would be fantastic. However, in the interim, what do we do with the church clock?
We'll have to get it repaired. That's all there is to it.
But you need to raise the funds to be able to do that.
Do we have to raise the funds first, or can we pay for it and then put the funds back into the parish council kitty?
So there's a clause in the proposal that we have to pay a 40% deposit when we place the order for the part. It is a specialist part, obviously. And then the remaining of the balance is due within 30 days of the project completion.
What is it going to raise that was going to reserve in costs for the clock?
Excuse me, can I ask a question? Have we asked Cumbrian Clocks to quote?
No, not yet. That is the only thing. But you are under contract to this one for your servicing. So this is the problem we've got.
Yes, it's best to stay with them, isn't it?
If you then go back, because I don't know why it switched from Cumbrian Clocks to Smiths. That history that I don't know. Because Cumbrian Clocks did the change. Why did it then flip to Smiths?
Because Smith always serviced it before, and the two quotes were put out. Do you remember, John?
I would imagine it would be a cost
It would be
issue.
a cost issue, so it might be worth getting Cumbrian Clocks to quote for the repair that Smiths of Derby have always serviced.
They've never serviced that part of it. This is what's come out of it. They've been doing the service of the clock, but not that part. They said they don't service that bit, that they won't go there.
It's because they don't make that part.
Yeah.
That part was made by Cumbrian
Yeah,
Clocks and
yeah.
installed some time ago.
So it seems crazy.
Right, David, is it relevant question?
Yes.
I'll take resolution. Council, David's got a question. All those in favour?
Yeah.
David.
Okay, I was the church warden at the time this work was carried out. Smiths of Derby had always serviced the clock as far as the church record, so I could go back. And when the clock was electrified, the parish council at the time took the cheapest quote, which was Cumbria Clocks. It was never a good choice. It has failed since then. But after that installation was changed, the servicing was moved back to Smiths of Derby.
Thank you. I think that puts some context around the decision making, doesn't it?
There was also a problem with the installation, wasn't there? Can you just ask him about that? Wasn't there an issue with the installation of that job?
There was a problem with the electrical supply to the clock, and as church warden I had to condemn the electrical work at the time, and a separate contractor was brought in.
Right.
But
That's since been put right.
oh yes,
Yes. Thank you. Appreciate that. So the context around Smith and Derby undertaking the work, and I get your point, Rebecca, that you know it would be in the best interests to consider other quotes. We could forge ahead and ask for Cumbria and Clocks to provide a quote, or we can make our decision making based on the best information available to us, and accept this Smith and Derby proposal. I don't know if anybody's got any further comment around that at all. It's not as if we can get other company quotes, because there are only the two companies that do this work in the whole of the country. It would seem to me prudent to stick with Smiths of Derby. Yeah.
I just, one comment, Chair.
Yeah,
Is that if, my feeling is that for fundraising purposes, it'd be a lot easier to raise funds when the clock isn't working
Yes.
than getting it going and then asking people to contribute. I think people will find it very, oh, it's working, oh, you don't need our money. So I think we make efforts to raise the money, perhaps with a time scale on it, and then look where we've got in terms of fundraising.
Yeah.
So if we're going to do that, can we put the clock at 12?
Yeah, I'm sure we probably could.
So that it actually tells the time twice?
At 12 o'clock.
Yeah. I think by law you have to, if it's not working correctly, I think you have to put the clock at 12 o'clock.
I don't know if it would be paying them to come out just to do that rather than just turning it off.
Okay, so we've not got somebody.
I think we just leave it for the time being.
Maybe do want to spend public money just to get them out.
Well, Smiths and Derby to come out to adjust the clock.
It would be at least £200.
Yeah.
So what would it cost if you got this other company from up in Durham to come down? They aren't going to come down here to look at that clock and say, oh, it needs £50 spending on it. There's mileage here, mileage back, there must be a charge. You can't go and quote for a job without, going all that distance without putting a price on it.
So are we discussing then having the clock time readjusted to be correct, or are we considering having the clock turned off?
It wants turning off.
Yes.
Now, presumably that's a fairly simplistic process, is it?
It's turned off at the moment, isn't it?
Well, maybe it's either way. I know it's not chiming.
How do you turn it off?
The chimes
You
are,
just stop it.
yeah,
And if we stopped it at 12 o'clock midday,
perfect.
there would be no cost implications in doing that.
Flick of the switch.
Where is the switch? Don't tell me it's at the top of the church tower. That dusty, wooden, rickety ladder.
It's easy enough to find.
Well, volunteers, John. Volunteers.
Chair, just interrupting again, if you want to turn the power off, it is in the vestry,
Thank you, David.
and it's in the middle of the wall of the vestry desk.
So would it just be the case where we could turn up at midday, or when the clock is showing midday?
And switch it off.
It is a legal requirement that a public clock that isn't working should show 12 o'clock.
Right.
To be perfectly honest, I'm not volunteering to climb up there, but it's only a quiet adjustment just to turn the hands anyway. It isn't a difficult thing.
Right, okay, thank
The
you.
easy way is to turn
But
it
we can turn it off in the vestry. Well, to my mind, that seems the best way forward. I take on board John's very good point in that if we switch that clock off, it would be appropriate that people can see that the clock is not working. I would just really want to mention that there are sensitivity issues around turning that clock off, and perhaps we ought to consider the best time of doing it, bearing in mind Remembrance Sunday is coming up. Whether we should do it before Sunday or after. It doesn't tell the right time at the moment, does it?
Use your blocks there for that, Jim.
Turn it off sooner.
Turn it off ASAP.
Turn it off soon, yeah, sooner than later.
Yeah.
Okay. So the proposal then is to, first of all, switch the clock off when it's showing midday. Show of hands, all those in favour. Splendid, thank you. And then we'll move forward with community fundraising, and Parish Council will look at other grant opportunities. So all in favour of that, quick show of hands. Splendid, thank you. And thank you for your input, everybody. Appreciate that. Okay, next agenda item is to consider, quite relevant, a parish upkeep advisory committee. Now, the idea behind having a parish upkeep advisory committee is really just to pull together all those things, good things that are happening in this village, to maintain and upkeep the environment, really. The role of the advisory committee would again to be report back to full committee. They're not empowered to make decisions, but they would have terms of reference to look at things such as trees, benches, salt bins, hedges, grass cutting, the caretaker role, how we implement the caretaker role, what improvements could be made with the caretaker role, how the caretaker role is managed, how we look after the cemetery, the churchyard, and just keeping an eye on those contracts that are issued by the parish council, because all contracts issued by parish council have cost implications, and as we all know, cost of living is increasing and we have budget constraints. So that's it in a nutshell, really. Any other comments at all from parish council this evening? I feel like I'm doing all the talking again. Any ideas? What about the caretaker role? Have we got any thoughts around that at all?
It's not something to make a decision on now.
No, but it would be something that would fall under the advisory committee, wouldn't it? Okay, well, I've proposed it in a kind of a nutshell. Again, it would be a committee whereby we would invite any residents who would like to get involved in this sort of work to come and help us out. It's an opportunity to get involved and work with council as well. So I'll just go straight to vote. The agenda item, terms of reference to YLCA for the same governance role, yeah. So Clark has produced a framework for terms of reference. To my view, it does meet the needs really. It's a fairly simple document, but it goes to YLCA for governance review, make sure that they're happy with it. Is that what you're saying? We don't need a policy document as such, do we?
It is a policy.
Oh, it is a policy, is
It
it?
is a policy.
Okay, yeah. Yeah, sure.
Quick
Yeah, of course you
thing,
can.
because when I read through it, I think there was no, that's fine. There's a couple of things on there that I thought should be included, and that is to liaise with National Park and Environment Agency with a view to the management of the areas that they have jurisdiction over, such as the car park, certain rights of way, the beck when it gets overgrown with weed and silted up.
Yeah.
We need to be able to lobby those people and tell them, look, it's not only the parish council, but it's the village upkeep group as well.
Yeah.
And the other area that crossed my mind is the border along Beck Isle, which is terribly neglected. Good question.
It's coming down.
It's, yeah, the ownership is questionable.
The only question with Beck is it's riparian owners and highways. The council cannot put any funds towards that unless there is closed funding. That's the only how you put any money towards it.
I wasn't suggesting putting money towards it, I was suggesting the group bring pressure to bear on the people that have a budget, such as the environment agency, who have the budget and yet don't spend it where they should, or where we feel they should.
It's the same in National Parks, and I had a meeting in National Parks at the pond the other week. Henry was there. No intention of doing anything around the pond, it's fine as it is.
So I'll add these bits in, I'll send it round to you again.
Yeah.
If there's anything else to add before, I'll send it to the YLCA. Because I haven't put church down next to cemetery. It wants to say all assets there, so
Yeah.
it covers things like bulk field, it just needs to name everything, but it covers everything. I'll send it round again just before I send it to the YLCA.
Yeah, okay, thank you. So the proposal then is to implement a brand new,
The only thing that when you have the non-council members up, they are signing up to the code of conduct.
okay, we
Yeah.
can make that clear to them at the time, can't we? And I think the YLCA have got some policy documents for non-members to look at and such like. So, then proposal is to have a brand new parish upkeep advisory committee involving members of the public to get involved. Show of hands for all those in favour, please. That's everybody, thank you. Right, moving on.
Terms of reference to go to YLCA.
Terms of reference to the YLCA. Keep you busy for a while, won't it, with these terms of references that are coming in? To consider any new planning applications, received or previous applications and decisions. And there are two. There are two. One is reference 691. It's an application for removal of an existing LPG tank and the siting in a revised location, together with the construction of a garage store building at property in Low Dolby. Any comments from council with regards to that? We've all seen the planning application paperwork, haven't we? I think essentially they're just doing a bit of an upgrade on an existing tank location, and to my mind it would probably be improving the area and the environment, given that it's within Dolby Forest. I should imagine that's quite important to maintain the area, if not improving it. So, no comments at all? No? And then the second is reference 5748, erection of a temporary 2-bedroom agricultural workers dwelling at a location land at Broadmires Lane. Any comments at all with regards to that one?
My only question was, how temporary is temporary?
How
It's
temporary?
replacing already one there, so I don't know how long it's been there previously.
Do you have concerns that temporary may not be temporary?
That's the question.
Yeah. I mean, that's not.
Having been down there, I understand why it was a need.
Yeah.
It's an isolated building, it's got people in it for all sorts of reasons. I agree with having a building there, the rest of it there, but it's just how temporary is temporary.
Okay, well, we can note that at Parish Council and perhaps pass that comment on, but I guess the decision making will district, is it? Yeah. I notice that the reference is not. Any other comments at all with regards to that one? No? Okay, thank you. Next agenda item. To receive and consider matters raised by the parish clerk, RFO. So this is the financial sort of stuff that will kick off really with current bank balance circulated to councillors to receive current.
It's here, because I was trying to get back his balance, which still haven't got back, but here's the Virgin is correct, the other two are the figures for August.
Is that any
Yeah, at least it'll have the brand. Surely you had the Barclays balanced before the parish council was in forward, so nothing's been spent. So you will have the balance.
That's the balance, isn't it? That was then. That was the last balance I knew.
Right.
So nothing has come out.
And
of that,
Nothing's
apart
come out,
from
but what, well,
interest.
the only thing that could have come out was the worsened direct debits. But whether they've frozen or not,
We don't know, because we can't get.
So what direct debits do you have?
ICO and the water was on direct debits, but that was all.
Right.
There should be some payments in there.
So it's the more money.
Are the payments from the cemetery? or-
There could be an
A
odd
lot of
cemetery one there. Yeah, the cemetery ones that should be in there.
So can the previous parish council people still access?
They legally can't. Because they've said they can't, so they've put themselves
So
in a
they've
legal
said?
position. Because they legally refuse to do payments, they put the council in a predicament if they start doing so now because of contracts they've reached by not making payments.
That was when they were councillors?
Yes. They're still not councillors, so they can't act, they can't go in.
Right.
So you're talking about Barclays, which leads us into the next agenda item, and that is to note the bank mandates, which is relevant to Barclays' status, and consider any actions required. The bank mandate did go into Barclays. I had to undergo an ID check because, John, you've got a Barclays account, presumably.
No.
No? Did you have to do an ID check?
Not yet.
Oh,
Have you
okay.
previously been a signatory?
Yes, I have.
Yeah,
Ah,
so
right,
it's
right.
got records.
Barclays said to me, Barclays have said it will be hopefully end of this week the parish council will regain access to the Barclays accounts, and then presumably you'll whip out a statement and get an idea of what's going on. Yeah, or have you already got a statement?
No,
No. Okay. Well, we
they've
just need.
said the same thing for 12 months, so.
Well, yeah, okay, well, we'll take it on face value that we should hear something
You
like
did get on
that.
your bank statements, you didn't give it to Carrie then.
Say that again, sorry.
When you get on, you'll be able to give the statement to Carrie.
Oh, right, yeah, okay. Leave it with me.
Can I just ask how many bank accounts we've got in Barclays? Two. A savings account.
Can I ask as well, I mentioned in September about a Lloyd's bank account,
We never did anything with Lloyds.
but it's in the minutes in March and April that there was a Lloyd's bank account opened.
No, we didn't do
Well,
one.
it's in the minutes. It's actually, I'll give you the minute
We
number.
were going to try and open one, but it never got.
Bank mandate
Oh,
status,
yeah.
Lloyd's Bank going through process.
Yes.
That was in March.
Sorry,
And then in April, 2223,474, bank mandate status, Lloyd's expected to be complete within 2
Yeah,
weeks.
it was rejected. It was rejected.
Yeah.
Definitely rejected. because
Rejected.
You said you hadn't.
Sorry, it was rejected, it didn't open.
Right.
Never went any further.
What was the purpose of the Lloyd's, was it Lloyd's, sorry?
Lloyd's, yeah.
Bank?
Because we couldn't get mandates through with Barclays.
Oh, gotcha. So it was an alternative to Barclays?
Yes, because no matter how we tried, how many mandates we sent in, we never got mandates with councillors on in it.
Gotcha.
Mine was conveniently lost at the mandate office.
Well, Barclays have another mandate from Thornton Parish Council. Let's see what happens to that one. Okay, moving on then. Next agenda item is to consider payments for approval. There are 4 payments.
3 for now, 1 to the end of the month. They're on the app for you and John to approve.
Oh, are they? Right.
David, it's not completed enough.
Yeah, I'm still waiting for an answer on why my postcode was incorrect.
No, it's not your postcode.
Right,
It's the postcode that the account is registered to,
and where's that registered to?
the clerk's address.
Okay.
You've never sent me an email.
It doesn't say that I have something like that. It doesn't say that, it says David Green at a different, it's Y18.
But I don't put your address in, I just put your phone number and email in. They don't have you.
I've got, I would like just to, number 75, the voucher, put a hold on that as it's not due until later on in the month.
It's not on until the later in the month.
Yeah, but I'm not going to approve that at the moment.
You legally have to.
No, I don't.
It's contractual.
Well, I'm not approving it.
Do we have to go to vote for each one
No.
separately, or do we go to vote of all 4 together?
They're all brought together and one's a contractual payment that you don't vote for payment for. You acknowledge that it's a contractual payment due at the end of the month.
Okay, so to consider payments for approval, we
And
consider them in as a 4,
you just sign it for off.
or
Why can't we sign them individually?
You sign them individually on the sheet.
But if we choose not to do one, then what do I say?
It's not due anyway until the end of the month, so.
We've got to approve it in the meeting.
Before the end of the month.
And you're not approving a contract, but you're noting that one's coming up.
Well, I'm sorry, but I'm not approving it.
You've reached a contract, that's fine. And you've not been noting that in the minutes.
Yeah, I'd like it noted, definitely.
do we all have to be in agreement for the payments as council, or is it not something that we vote on? Because obviously Rebecca's expressed her view, and I'm sure the rest of council have their views. Can we go through each one individually, or do we just take a vote on
You just review the
Payment.
payments that are due.
approval for all
Payments
4?
that are due, and we're just
Okay.
signing.
So taking it as an entirety then, there are 4 payments we've all seen the details of.
Yeah.
The motion would be to approve it, and we'll just go for a vote
Sign it,
for,
we have to sign the piece of paper.
okay. Well, we'll go for a
Providing
vote.
we're in agreement with all 4.
Say again, sorry.
Providing we're all in agreement with all 4 vouchers.
I'm happy with 3,
Yeah. I'm happy
but
with
75 I'm not happy with.
Yeah, I get
that. We
that,
need further information.
Yeah,
I get that. But the proposal is to approve them all 4. And if you don't want to, that's a matter for you as an individual, is it not?
I'm happy approving 3,
Yeah.
but not happy
But you
approving.
can see my dilemma, because the proposal is to approve all 4.
Yes, well,
We can't do them individually.
Why not?
Why not?
Well, I don't know, why can't we do them individually?
You sign them off individually for.
So we can sign off individually, the 4. Okay, so, okay, well we can. So shall we go for the first one then? Voucher number 77, all those in favour for payment, show of hands? Yeah. Voucher number 76, all in favour, show of hands? I think I know what's going to happen. 74 voucher number, all in favour, show of hands. And then voucher number 75, all in favour, show of hands.
It's going to get paid at the end of the month, and we haven't got another meeting before then. So how are we going to sign it off?
Well, we can discuss it, can't we?
So if you reach
In-
that contract, I'm walking down, which is Monday.
In, well, 25th, but we haven't said what that voucher number is yet, have we? So,
If you reach that contract now, I'll walk immediately. So I suggest you go to closed session immediately.
closed session?
Can we do a closed session? We
Yeah.
can do it when,
Well, it's on the agenda.
right, so
Yeah.
we can take that to closed session.
I think that's what's being asked, isn't it? And take
I'm
that
happy to discuss immediate
to
closed
closed
session,
session, yeah.
which is breach contract.
So the rest of the agenda is around budgets, no correspondence, matters for future agendas, and then to confirm dates. So we're going to move into closed session now, everybody. Thank you very much for coming, and look forward to seeing you in a month.
Right.